What's up? What's up? How is everyone? Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. I'm at my mom's place. Got a brief reprieve from nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, cousins, parents, sisters, in-laws, etc. They're all at my grandmother's. So, figured I'd better be a good time to knock out a video. For week 14, rivalry weekend is here. Probably going to head down to the swamp on Saturday morning. I'm coming to you from Quincy, Florida, right outside of Tallahassee, where their coaching search continues. That's where I'm headed. Saturday night, a little swamp action, a little ass beating, pimp slap for the semis. Can't wait. All right. And I might be in play for that game. I'm kind of was hoping it would go down to 17, which I consider a key number. But let's go to some other picks. I didn't have, finally, by the way, my picks have finally caught fire. Plus more than 11 units since November 9th. So, one of my few L's last week was Southern Miss against Western Kentucky. So I'm going to go back to the Hilltoppers, but I'm going to go play on them rather than fade them. I made Western Kentucky a 12-point favorite at home against Middle Tennessee, and the number is 8, which I hate. I like being at 7.5, buy it to 7. But I'm feeling good enough about this one. I think they're gonna win by 2 touchdowns. The Hilltoppers are 7-4 straight up, 8-3 against the spread on the season, whereas Middle Tennessee is 4-7 straight up, 5-6 against the spread. The Blue Raiders 5 road assignments, winless, 2-3 against the number. Western Kentucky 6-2 straight up and 7-1 against the spread in its last 8 games, and that 8-game mark is when they went to Arkansas grad transfer quarterback Ty Story, and he's just had a nice run and got to light up his former teammates in the Razorbacks 45-19. And isn't that the game that handed his former coach Chad Morris a pinky the next day, a pink slippage. Western Kentucky defensively ranked number 28 in the nation out of 130 FBS teams in total defense, number 18 in pass defense, number 21 in scoring D. They only give up 19.5 points per game, and the Hilltoppers are 3-0 against the spread in 3 games as a single-digit favorite this year. Story has thrown for 1,915 yards, 10 touchdowns. He's a big boy, too, and he's also run for 6 touchdowns, and I'm on the Bills, and they're now up 16-7. We don't like the Cowgals. All right, let's go. Okay, if there's a game that I believe is going to, well, potentially there's Auburn as well, but I lean Alabama in that game. Not necessarily laying the points, but just, picking it. So if there's a game that I think could shake up the CFP picture, it is the Bedlam game in Stillwater, even with Spencer Sanders out, Drew Brown. I don't think he's as good as Sanders. He did have 2 touchdown passes without an interception last week in the win at West Virginia to give him a 5-0 TDI&T ratio on the season. But he's a guy that started at Hawaii for a couple of seasons before transferring. Had to sit out last year, and then no, I think he sat out 2 years ago, and then was just a road pine last year, if I'm not mistaken. Phone thrown across the room. Sorry. Okay. Oklahoma State is a home dog. By the way, they're catching 13 to OU. As a home dog since 2015, the Mike Gundys have been in that home dog role 6 times. They've won outright 5 times. They've only lost once, and it was a non-cover. So 5-1 both straight up and against the spread as a home dog since 2015. At home this year, the Cowboys are 4-1 both straight up and against the spread in 5 home games. Flip side, the Sooners 1-3 against the spread in 4 road assignments. Mike Gundy's team has won 4 games in a row, 3-0-1 against the spread. And you could be 4-0 against the spread if you got in early and got -6.5 at West Virginia last week, because they ended up winning by 7, which was a closing number for a push. The Hokies have been a double-digit underdog once this year. What'd they do? Won outright in Ames, 34-27 as an 11.5-point underdog. Okay, Oklahoma, they are mired in a 0-4 against the spread slump. And they are 1-6 against the spread in their last 7. The Sooners have won 3 in a row since they lost to K-State, but they've done themselves no favors whatsoever. They've won those 3 games in a row by a combined 8 points. 8 combined points. Give me the double-digit dog. I like the Pokes, even with the backup quarterback. Where do I want to go next? Michigan, Ann Arbor, the big house. All right, I'm going to stop shy of calling for the outright upset just because I don't have to. I hope Michigan wins outright. But Michigan's peaking right now, man. Since they fell down 21-0 to Penn State, rallied, lost 28-21. Depending on what number you had, you might have covered at +7.5. But not only did they rally and get a backdoor cover if you had the good line, but they were deep in the red zone with a chance to tie the game in the final minute, and they just ran out of downs. I was in Vegas for that. I feel like a guy dropped a pass that was critical. I don't know if he was in the end zone, but I feel like on that drive there was a key drop. But anyhow, so Michigan's won 4 in a row. They've won by margins of 31, 31, 34, and 25. They were in a look-ahead spot last week at Indiana, and Indiana's got its best team in a decade or two, probably since Antoine Randall, and his teams weren't even that great. Might have got to a bowl game or 2 max. But anyhow, so in that 4-game winning streak, Shea Patterson's playing the best football of his career, 12-1 TDI&T ratio. Look, we all know Ohio State's dominated this series, dominated this rivalry. Michigan, I believe, was number 1 in the nation in scoring defense last year going into this game and got a 62 spot hung on them. I just like Michigan here, man. They're playing solid ball at home, 100,000 strong, an underdog of more than a touchdown to a team that's red hot, that has a quarterback is probably playing with the most confidence of his career in Patterson. Yeah, Bills, just kick these cowgals' ass. Love it. Love it. So, yeah, I like Michigan. You might have missed out on the best number. It looks like it went down to 8.5 today. I actually got 9.5, where I don't think it spent much time, but I got 9.5 a couple of days ago. Okay, so I hate when this happens because, I don't know if we talked about it much. Yeah, we did talk about the Westgate rivalry weekend, look at headlines. And last week they had Virginia -4.5 to Virginia Tech, and I pounded Virginia Tech last week. And they spanked Pitt 28-0. And the whole game, I'm just thinking, all right, hit the brakes, guys. Chill. I still want to be an underdog at UVA. And I got a +1 on Sunday night, but I just put a little nibble on it, darn it. And was hoping, it was going to stay in that area. And then Vatek jumps up to 3. Now they're now at 2.5 at most spots, but I still like them. And I've been riding this team successfully, haven't lost yet for more than a month now. Now Virginia is undefeated at home. But those wins came against touchdown Bills, came over Liberty, Bill and Mary, Old Dominion, Georgia Tech's worst team in decades, Duke, which I don't know what, this is one of the worst jobs I've ever seen Cutcliffe do. I mean, this team is just awful down the stretch. And FSU, which got its coach fired. So those are Virginia's victims at home. So I'm not, so much worried about. I mean, look, Charlottesville will be popping. The winner gets Clemson in the ACC championship game. Virginia's never won the ACC Coastal. I get all that. But you look at Virginia's resume, and by the way, shout out to my man, Alex Reith Miller, Christian Alexander. And they were my best season win total in the summer. I'm sure many of you probably heard that, and that's a winner already. It was over 7 or 7.5, and they're sitting at 8 wins. Cash, money, winner. It doesn't cash until this game's over Saturday, but it will. Oh, I forgot I've got those going. Oh, I've got some winners going on my weekly balance come Saturday night. Forgot about that. Yeah, love it when that happens. So I've been talking about him, Hendon Hooker. The quarterback that they went to 7 games ago, and he was a late scratch to the Notre Dame game, but they still covered. They're 6-0 straight up with Hendon Hooker as the starting QB. He has 10 touchdown passes without an interception and 4 rushing touchdowns. He can move. He can make plays. And look, Bud Foster, he's retiring, one of the greatest defensive coordinators of this generation, of the last half century, one of the best defensive coordinators around, college or pro, Bud Foster. Well, he's got this group playing. I know Georgia Tech's not very good, but 45 bagel 2 weeks ago, 28 bagel to Pittsburgh last week. That's back-to-back cream cheese treatment for your opponents. That's a defense that's flying around, making plays. And we know Virginia's a little one-dimensional with Bryce Perkins, and he is a hell of a player. But Bud will have a great game plan. I'll lay the 2.5 with the Hokies. All right, to a lesser extent, I mean, you guys that are familiar with me know how it's automatic Eastern Michigan when they're a dog, and I usually stay away from them as a favorite. But when the line went down from 5.5, and I'm not sure, it's 4 across the board right now. When it went down to 4, I had to get a nibble, but nothing, money management purposes, small, nothing crazy. I'm strong on Oak State. I'm medium on Michigan. I'm between medium and strong on Western Kentucky. And I'm strong on Vatech. And then I'm just, Eastern Michigan, just a little bit, just get a little nibble. And then this next one, just medium. But I like it. East Carolina, Tulsa, over the 61. Actually, I haven't looked at this line today to see if it has moved. I'm trying to scroll down now. No, it's still sitting there at 61. I like the over. The over is 4-1 in ECU's past 5 games. And in those 5 games, we've had combined scores of 69, 65, 89, 110, and then 55, which was an under last week. Meanwhile, Tulsa's last 4 games, combined scores of 82, 64, 65, and then a 38. Both teams have prolific quarterbacks. ECU's Holton Ahlers, I think I'm pronouncing that right. He's run for 324 yards and 6 touchdowns, but he ran for a lot more last year. I mean, that doesn't even do justice to how good a scrambler he is. He's also a southpaw. He's thrown for 3,079 yards this year. In the last 3 games alone, 11-3 TD-INT ratio. And then in the last 3 games, he's thrown for 535, 498, and 374 passing yards. That's pretty good. Tulsa QB Zach Smith, 2,948 yards passing. You'll remember he was at Baylor, played a little as a freshman a few years back. He has 6 games in which he's thrown for 270 passing yards or more. Looked at weather.com. Won't be an issue in Greenville, North Carolina, over the 61. Okay, like I mentioned on the Gators, I'm kind of just waiting. I'm hoping it goes down to 17. I like the Gators, though. I think we win by at least 21. In fact, I'm going to be pissed if we don't win by at least 24. I'll be livid. Or, I'm sorry. Livid if we don't win by more than 21. Pissed if we don't win by more than 24. Not happy if we don't win by 20. I mean, I want to just really get medieval on the semis in this spot. Really bad. Really bad. So, I'll probably be on the Gators, but that's more pride talking in this video here. But I mean, it's smarts too. FSU's horrible. They beat Alabama State and Boston College with Odell. And by the way, hire Odell. Great idea. Love it. Works for me. All right. Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. Some injury stuff. Illinois' Brandon Peters and Jake Hansen. I talked to the Illinois beat writer just on DM on Twitter. He told me Illinois hadn't released anything. And by the way, if you didn't know about Brandon Peters, he's not showing up on any injury reports. He is probably not playing against Northwestern. Illinois -8 at home. If he and Jake Hansen were playing, I'd be on Illinois -8, but they'd probably be -10 or 11. Now, the beat writer did tell me he does think Reggie Corbin will play, their stud running back, who is questionable. And Illinois, another cover for me last week. I hope you guys were on it, guys and gals. I feel like there's some other stuff. I'm trying to think of who's the question marks injury-wise. Oh, ECU's best wide receiver is questionable, which I shouldn't even tell you after I endorsed ECU. Scrolling down, looking at KJ's out for Stanford, so it's gonna be Davis Mills again. Or is it Davis Webb? Who's Davis Webb? Davis Mills, Davis Webb. Anyhow, Miami's got some injuries too, but I mean, how do you can't back Duke? They are so awful right now. All right, I think that's going to sum it up. Happy Turkey to everybody. I'm going to come right back with a UFC Thanksgiving video as Connor versus Cowboy, Budweiser versus Proper 12 booked today. Best of luck on your bets. Happy football. Brian Edwards, Major Wager, over and out.